Good afternoon. It is 2 and I am getting ready to start my live here. I have a couple of really fun projects and how to do them to show you. One using this very furry Merry Christmas and one using the Holiday Village. So two different things. I'm just gonna wait here for just a moment. Hi, Kelly. So I don't understand why there's some kind of weird warp speed kind of thing that happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and all of a sudden everything is absolutely insane. But it just is, and so even I am scrambling to make a few last minute little gifts and Christmas cards and things. So today I have two things to show you. A card and a little gifty project, like that would be good for neighbors. So we're going to start with this one because this is the card. This is a center step card that we're going to make today using this furry Merry Christmas. And what I do when I have a specialty card is I keep an envelope. I say what it is on the envelope, and then I keep a template inside so that I know exactly how to cut one. And then I also keep an example of the card in that envelope. So in a pinch, if I want something that's just really spectacular, I can grab my envelope and make something really cool and not have to go searching on the internet, on Pinterest or whatever, to try to find ideas. So this is the card that I made for my hostess group this month, and basically it's made from a normal card base, a normal, close to my heart, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base. You can see there's a score line right there in the middle. And so I want to show you how I made this happen. The other thing that I tend to do is I really like to, when I get out a stamp set and I start, I don't just make 1 or 2 of these, I make a whole bunch. So you can see that I have a whole bunch of images and things that I've cut out to use for future things. Like if I was in a hurry and I needed to grab something, it's nice to have these kind of already done. The messages on this set crack me up. Feliz Navidad, Meowie Christmas, Happy Holidays. And so I am gonna stamp a message. I'm gonna put this on my block and have it ready. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. Now what you can see is basically this is a stand-up card. I made a lot of these this year, and the reason I did is because when I send cards to the elderly, or I give people cards, I like to give them things that they can display. And what's nice about this is you can make this kind of any size you want, but this one, the way it folds, it fits right into an envelope without any trouble, and it's flat enough, it doesn't need any extra postage, and yet it's really outstanding. And you can put an image, you could put one of the PML cards on there, like if you don't have time to color. Here's one with the kitten instead of the dog. It's totally cute. And so the other thing you can put on there is just a photo. I mean, if you have a family photo that you really love and you're sending cards to your family, how cool would that be to just have them have a card to display? Okay, so I went ahead and pre-cut a few pieces in here just so we could decorate it quickly. I'm going to set that aside. Let's talk about this template. So basically what we're going to do, and I normally would just get out my paper trimmer to do this, but I think I'll be able to show you a little easier by using just a ruler and a craft knife, because I want to be able to kind of just show you what I'm doing. What we're going to do is we want to go in 1 inch, just 1 inch from the side, and you can make a little mark. I usually make 2 little marks, 1 inch from each side, and we're going to flip it around and we're going to do the same thing on the other side, 1 inch from each side. This is not rocket science. You could do it 1.25 inches. You could this will just narrow that pop-up section if you make it bigger, right? So we're going to make a cut 1 inch in, right? So I'm just going to real lightly line those lines up, and I'm just going to kind of real lightly make a little line so that you can see what I'm talking about. I hope you can see it. Okay, now the other thing, those are cut lines that we're going to make, but we want to start 1 inch from the corner as well. So we're going to start at this right there, and then we're going to go all the way to 5 1/4. Now here is where you could adjust any way you want. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to go 1 inch to the 5 1/4. All right, so there are our cut lines. Let me get my trimmer, my cutter here, and I'm going to line things up, and I'm just going to go from dot to dot. Turn it and go from dot to dot. Now on your trimmer you would do the same thing, but you don't have to use a pencil, because on your trimmer it's so easy to just follow your trimmer guide, you know, from 1 to 5 1/4. So we've made 2 cut lines. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to score, and I can use my scoring board. It's the only reason I don't like to use my scoring board on here is it's just so big, right? It's just so big. But basically what we're going to do is we want it to be able to score at this 1 inch mark here, but not all the way across, okay? Because when you look at the original card, what we're making is this first little mountain fold right here on each side. So we just want that to be scored on each leg, if you will. Okay, see how that made like a leg, and it's going to be like a mountain fold, and this part is going to be straight. So here is the natural fold of our card, and now you can see where the pop-up part goes. Now the last score we make is on the leg again at that 5 1/4 mark. Boom. And I'm going to flip it over just because it's easier to see my ruler. 5 1/4. Okay, so there we go. There's that. We folded that little short leg. We have our natural card fold. Sorry. And then we have this. Now, we need one more fold right here. We did a 1 inch, and now we're going to go 1 more inch, and so it's like 2 inch from the edge, 2 inch from the edge. So we basically marked 3 score lines: 1 inch, 2 inch, and then at the 5 1/4. 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 1/4. 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 1/4. And we are now going to just let those folds do their thing. Now, the natural card fold right here, this one right here, we are going to cover that with some paper and make that a little bit reinforced, because we don't want it to fold on the natural fold there, because it's folding so nicely here. So we bypassed that score right there. So 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 1/4, 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 1/4. Fold on the center, folds on the natural score line of the card base, and then everything else just kind of just like that. Now when I decorate these, I really do try to make sure to put something on these sides to really reinforce them, because those are a weak point since there's already a little bit of a score there. We're going to cover it up. So I just have some like little strips of paper. Now I typically don't even measure these. I just make them at least, you know, I know that's an inch wide leg on that side, so I think this is 3/4 of an inch, and I just random stamped a whole big long strip of it and then cut it down into chunks, because when you open the card, the bottom down here doesn't show, and so as long as you have it nice and even here and here, it's going to be perfect. Now, the other thing I did was I was just gonna kind of mat my stamped image. I have a little dog here that looks like my dog Moose, and I can just put that on there. Now, one thing I did is I stamped these really cute little ornaments randomly around the back, and then I cut, you can see I kind of cut out that image there and glued it on. You can do anything you want. He is on just a super thin foam tape, and you can certainly stamp in the background as much as you want, but I'm going to go ahead and put this together really fast. I love that our cardstock has like a light and a dark side, because if you don't own a whole bunch of colors like I do, sometimes it's nice to use the light somewhere and the dark on the other part. It's just another way to kind of extend your supplies. Okay. And then I just think he's darling. I don't know if you just saw that. I just had this little weird fruit fly in front of the screen. Every time I go live, I feel like I've been battling these little fruit flies since like October. I don't know how many other people are, but I thought when it froze outside, they would be gone. Nope. Okay. Somebody told me they're drain flies, so then I put all kinds of vinegar and stuff into my drain trying to kill them, and that helped a little. We've quit leaving our fruit out. We've been very careful about everything, and they just keep on going. I just don't get it. Where are they coming from? So weird. All right. I'm just going to put a strip of paper there. That's just for decoration. I really like having some kind of decoration at the bottom. And then my little message. Let me move the scoring thing out of the way. It's covering up my stuff. We'll use it again in a minute. For our second project, I hope everybody's doing okay. I feel like I did this big kind of sigh of relief when Thanksgiving was over, because we ended up having to cook for everybody at the last minute, and so we did a mad scramble, so Thanksgiving felt very crazy, but it all went great. But now we're into the nuttiness of, you know, we're into that craziness of the Christmas prep. I finally got my tree up, and now starts all of the events. You know, I don't know, it's like all the lighting ceremonies and the cool shopping things that happen and the craft shows and the festival of trees and all these things that everybody loves to go to. It's like, gosh, they're all crammed into like a 3 or 4 week period. Holiday parties at work. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? I love it. I just love it. And so here's the other version. I used shimmer trim on the bottom, or you could use the little cat. Isn't that cute? So, of course, I would have had to use, instead of Happy Holidays, maybe Meowie Christmas or something. But I think this is this Christmas card is really actually pretty quick. Once you get that cut down and you're using standard card bases, it goes so fast because you're basically just score on 3 sides, and then you fold it up and decorate it. And so you can get the assembly line going pretty well on that. Okay, that's the first project. That went so quick. Wasn't even on for 15 minutes. Hold on a minute. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to use this set. This is the Holiday Village, and I've been really wanting to use this set, and I noticed a lot of the close to my heart consultants, I looked at their artwork, and people are basically just stamping it, stamping an image, coloring it, and putting it on a card. So, you know, if I wanted to use it, you know, on this card, for example, I would stamp it, color it, and put it on a card. And so, yeah, it looks nice. It's great. But that it's not very creative, and I was kind of trying to think of different ways to use this. And my favorite is this one right here. I think it looks like a little gingerbread house. I think the swoops on the side make it look like candy canes. And so I've been having some fun with that. You just saw the big house. I've been coloring it in different colors and doing different things with it, which I think they're adorable. And then the church, it's really easy to just make it sort of white, but I wanted it to be a color, and so I made it in like the kind of pale teal and purple and gray. So what I want to do is I want to make these into a box. Have you guys ever made a box before? Basically, to make a standard box, you want to make sure that your inside box is just a little bit smaller than your top, because otherwise, if you get two the exact same size, they don't want to go together, and you have to kind of smush it in there and stretch one to get it to go together. So it's better to have one just a little smaller so it fits inside of each other. So to measure a box, here's what I did. Let's do the house. The house is a great one to start with. So this house is 3 inches long, and I want my box to be about 1.5 inches tall. I'm going to have the box go up to the roof line. So 3, and I want it to be 1.5 inches tall on the side. Moose, relax. So basically, to cut your paper, you add 3, and then 1.5 over here, and 1.5 over here. So it needs to be 6 inches long. And then the side is 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Well, depending on if you want your center to be 1.5 also. So we are going to do that one 4.5. So what I did was I cut my piece of paper 6 by 4.5, because there's the 1.5 side, 1.5 side, and then the center of the box, which will be 1.5. Now, I hope that's not too confusing. We'll do it again. I promise we'll do it again. Now I need my scoreboard. And because I want the walls of my box to be 1.5. So I'm going to go 1.5, and I'm going to turn it and go 1.5, and I'm going to turn it and 1.5, and I'm going to turn it and 1.5. What this gives me, I hope you can see the scores. There, that works. The base of the box, side, 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 and then 2 flaps. Okay, so let's make, that's the base of the box. Now, to make the lid, we need just 1/8 of an inch bigger. So when I cut my second piece, I'm going to cut it the same, 6 plus 1/8 of an inch, because I want it to be just 1/8 of an inch bigger, 6 1/8. This, remember the other one was 4.5, so I'm going to do it 4.5 plus 1/8, which is 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 5/8. So basically, when you cut your piece of paper, you're just doing the exact, you're doing 2 exact measurements, but on the second sheet, you're doing 1/8 of an inch bigger. Now, same thing here. We want the sides of the box to be 1.5 inches. So here we go again. 1.5, turn. 1.5, turn. 1.5, turn. 1.5. So we have 2 pieces scored, and you can see this is 1/8 bit bigger there and 1/8 bigger there. Okay, let's make our box. So when you're making a box, let me get my smaller scissors out because I have these gargantuan scissors. Basically what you need to do is you need to make some flaps. What I like to do is I cut on the score. I'm going to try to move this so I cut it so that I'm cutting the score off, and then on my flap I make a little V. So it makes like a little notch. Moose, quit messing with the cat. The cat is going, she's so happy that the Christmas tree is up, and so she's been laying under the tree, and then when he wants my attention, he goes and messes with her. So basically on this side I'm going to do this, and on this side. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut down the score line, and then I'm going to make a little V on that one. I'm going to cut down the score line and make a little V on that one. So here's what you have. These little pieces, I just tear them off. These little, because you could be all careful and cut them out. Moose, knock it off. So there you go. Here's our box. Here's our side and our flap. I'm just folding on all those score lines we made. This will fold into this and glue. Boom, we have a box. Do you love it? Right? I guess I could just go ahead and glue it while I have it all together. I usually use liquid glue, but just for speed today, I'm gonna put I'm gonna use my ATG. The reason I use liquid is it just seems like I can get it a little closer to the edges and make it nice and perfect when I fold it like that. I'm gonna put that in there like that, and then this in there like that. Ta-da! And made a box. So we're going to do the same thing to the other piece, where we're going to go up the score line, make a V, up the score line, make a V, again, up the score, make a little V, up the score, and make a little V. All right, and then take all those little straggly pieces off like that. And again, we're going to fold on all of our little scores that we made, and we're going to make our box. Let me find my ATG again. The only place I'm putting adhesive is on my flaps, and then I just fold them in and try to make them as nice as possible, like that. Okay, now you can see one is just an 1/8 of an inch bigger. It will go over the other, and we've made a box. What's great about this box is it's perfect to hold little candies or little trinket. I love the holiday candies this time of year where they look like Santa hats and stuff. But you can fill it with a few little candies or a little gift and put the lid on, and it's perfect. So that, or you could put a hole in the top and hang a little ribbon from the hole and make it into an ornament, which is really cool. One other thing that I find is helpful, which I always forget, is I take like a little circle punch and I like to make a little bitty notch in each side of the lid. You don't have to, but it really does make it easier later to have a place to hold on to that base of that box so that you can get the lid off and on. All right, so the reason I made it the size I did was because I wanted to glue the house to the side. Now see how nicely that fits? I think that works really, really well. But when what I don't like about it is that the roof, even if I put a house on each side, the roof sticks up on each side, and it's totally fine. If I was making that into an ornament or whatever, it would be totally fine. But what I did, I decided to, I cut a strip. It's 4.5 by 1.5 inches, and basically I kind of measured here, it's like 1 inch, and so I kind of scored this so that I could make a roof, like follow a roof line. This is kind of fussy, but I basically did 1/4 of an inch as a little tab, and then did a 1 inch line so that this seems kind of ridiculous, okay? Not necessary, but I just wanted to show you how I did mine. And then what I did was I put glue just on the little tiny tab, like that. And I'm going to, I put it there, and then kind of around, gotta fold that again, fold and put it here. This is probably too much fussy work, but do you see what I did? I made like kind of a rooftop for the house. So now what I can do is I can glue and this is crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to glue all along here. And then I can put my house down on that box lid just like that. And just hold it for a moment until my glue dries. And I'm pushing on that paper because there's not very much. It needs just a little bit of weight until the glue takes hold. But that way the box will have like a top to it and not just have the top of the lid kind of sticking up. All right, I know it's a lot. It's fussy, but this is a perfect way to make a cool ornament or something. It would be a lot sturdier. And I do the same thing. It's all stuck down now. I do the same thing to the other side. And then I have this cute little box that'll open up and will hold a treat or a tea light. If you're really, really fussy, you could cut out all the windows and put a tea light candle in there. Anything you want. So I just thought that is cool. So the other image that's in the set besides the house is the gingerbread house, and it's this one. And so I thought, oh, it's gingerbread. So what I did was I took craft paper and I made a whole bunch of them with white embossing powder. And I just thought, wow, that's really, really cool looking. And I made a little box the same way. I measured across, which is 3 inches. And this one, I only wanted like 1 inch tall. So I would cut it 5 and then the other way by 3. 5 by 3. That's how I make my box. And so here's a box that I made. And I thought, how cute will that be? I could put a house on each side, or I could just leave the side plain. Whatever you prefer. I kind of like it just like that. It's so cute. What I did, I took one of the gel pens, which I thought, you know, it's perfect. It's white. I can draw on this. And I drew on the side. Now, I am no artist. And the more I looked at this, the more I thought it looked like a mobile home. And I was kind of like, you know, it just looks kind of odd. It just doesn't look great. So even if I put, even if I put this on one side, the other side just doesn't quite look right. I need to work on my finesse a little bit. So I decided I am going to cover that. But I do like how the white kind of stripes show up on the side, so I may do something with that. The other thing I did with this is I used my gel pens. Now, I have tons and tons of the glittery gel pens. I don't color, like do the adult coloring book color, but they're, especially this time of year, you can find great deals on huge packs of gel pens. And last year I bought a pack of, I think it was like 300 pens or something off of Amazon for my nieces, and I just split them up because you had like 4 reds and 4 greens and 4, you know what I mean, like 4 of every color. There were hundreds of colors, but they all got a big batch of gel pens. And so I thought, I'm gonna buy one for myself. And then I sort of matched them up to the Close to My Heart inks. So this is Candy Apple, and I just went in and colored it, and it was so much fun. It's so fun. I'm surprised how much I enjoyed that. And I think it turned out super cute. And so I think that, and then I put a little tree on the side. So there's another one. So another thing that I did besides that, I decided, well, maybe I just don't need them embossed. Maybe I just need to color them. And so this is just a stamped house colored in with the tri-blend markers, which is my favorite. This is my favorite. I love it. And I love how the brown, it does look like gingerbread, even though it's not. It's stamped on brown paper. I just love how it looks. And so I thought I can make a couple of those, and I stamped a couple of trees. I'll put some trees on the side, and then I'll fill them with candies, and those will be amazing little gifts. I have cute little things to put in my neighbor gifts, right? Those are so adorable. Okay, let me move that one and I'll show you the church. Sorry, I've been, like I said, working on my nails a little bit, but it makes my nails not as sharp, if that makes sense. Like, it makes it harder to pick things up. Okay, so the church, I did the same thing. I measured the church across, which is 2 1/4 inches. I decided I wanted the church to be 1 1/4 inches. So when I cut the box, I did 2 1/4, and then I add 1 1/4 on the left, and I add 1 1/4 on the right, and that's the size of my paper. And then the other way would be 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, so 3 3/4. I hope that makes sense. If you need help making a box, you just let me know. And then I did the same kind of thing. I just cut like a 1 1/4 inch kind of strip, and I made flaps at the bottom so that my church will have a base, and I'm going to glue it the same way that I glued the house, where I'm going to put glue here, and I'm just going to hold it down like this until all the glue is dry. And then I can flip it over and put my second church that I colored on the other side. This one in particular, I think, would be beautiful as an ornament. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that. And so I think it'd be really easy to put a hole in there and tie a ribbon, and maybe even shimmer pen that up a little bit. I had a few trees that I cut out of this set. This set has several little trees. It has this one, it has this one. Hold on, trying to pick it up. It has the little one that I showed you on the gingerbread. I'm not exactly sure why it has a present, but it does have a present. I'm not sure where I would use it yet, but basically what I did was, there, I really liked the tree kind of coordinating with this church, and I think I'll foam dot it up just a little bit and make that pop up a little. On these trees, this one is just stamped and colored, and then this one and this one, I used those glitter pens to just go over the lines, and I like how those look too. Those look really cute too. So shimmer pen would look great. Here I just colored light and then went dark over the little upside down M trees, or M birds, you know, the little squiggles. So there's that. So what do you think? Don't you think that's a cool project? I can't see anybody's comments, so I hope that you like it. For some reason my comments aren't showing today. It's very weird, but I'll go back later and look at comments and answer questions, and if it's too confusing to make a box, I can show you again how to make it. Because I make boxes a lot. I love making little boxes like this for candies and stuff. And then, look at that one. That one's really weird. I guess I'll have to eat that one. Those are like the little bells. But I just think these are adorable. And I love how the little thing says ho, ho, ho. But these are really cute. These would be really cute for like bazaars or school treats. Or like what I do stuff for my neighbors, and I give them like a little box, and it'll have a couple kinds of cookies and this little one of these little boxes of candies, and I may even make it into an ornament that could be hangable even if they eat the candy out. And look at that. Isn't that cute? I just need to put the back on. But I love how that is. Some of them are big. You can make your box big enough so that you can put a tea light candle inside, one of the little tea lights, and it would light up. Like, I thought about cutting out these little windows and putting vellum in there, and then they would light up. But remember, you have to go through the entire thing, or if you don't go through the whole thing, the light won't show through. So that's a trick. That's something I would do before I assembled my box. In other words, I would hold it together like this, and I might even stamp the house onto my box. You know, like use my stamp it on there, just so I can cut out all the windows through both pieces. And then when it goes together, top and bottom, you would actually have windows going through it. That would be a lot trickier. I decided too much. But this is the box that I made. I made an extra box for the gingerbread houses because I had so many cut out, and it really does help to assembly line these so that you're not constantly going, okay, it needs to be 5 1/4 by 1. It's easier just to cut a whole bunch of them, stamp a whole bunch of them, and then just put them all together at the same time and not really think too hard about it, right? Because otherwise it ends up being more of a chore. So anyway, next week, I'm really excited. I realized we really only have like 3 weeks before Christmas, and then after Christmas is Margie's New Year's Eve crop, and she has asked me to put something together for that crop, and I think I've decided to do a batch of cards. I haven't put them together. It's really hard to think post-Christmas when I'm in the thick of Christmas, if that makes sense. It's really, really hard to come up with a non-Christmassy project in the middle of full-on holiday stuff happening here. So, but I have the ideas flowing through my head. I just don't have mock-ups of the cards we're gonna make. But I decided, I think I'm gonna send, like, if you send me money, PayPal, I'll put together a kit, and then everyone will get a kit, and we can make everything will be pre-cut. And we'll just assemble like crazy. You may have to color some images, but that's my idea. I'd like to know if that appeals to you. Like, I'm thinking in the range of like $25, because I want to make quite a few different cards, and I would like them to be a little unique and special, not just something not just something to throw together in a hurry, but, you know, something more like our center step card, or something, you know, that takes just a moment that you wouldn't maybe normally make for yourself, right? And I also think I need to re-up my stash of birthday cards, sympathy cards. You know, I wouldn't mind doing a wedding card and a baby card, you know, just to have the one or two made. See why that little notch is so nice to have? Just to have a couple in your stash that, you know, when those things come up, I always feel like, I'm scrambling to, there, that's better, see? I'm always kind of scrambling to try to make something unique and special, and so I try to have wedding cards, baby cards, and a couple of birthday cards ready to roll. And so that's my plan, is to make something unique and cool. There, isn't that neat? I always, you know, I don't do anything simple. Everything I do is a little elaborate, and I like that. I like having things be a little more special and different than something that you would just make on your own. Not that you don't do special and different things too, but you know, it's nice to have, if you're going to take a class, if you're going to pay money, it's nice to have them be something that you wouldn't do yourself. So that's my thought anyway. That's how I feel. And so what I'll do is I'll send the paper, the embellishments, everything, the card bases, so that we can just all make a whole bunch of cards, right? I love the idea. So, all right, well, I'm gonna finish these last few candy boxes up, and I hope today I've inspired you to get rolling on some Christmas gifts if you haven't been doing it already. I know it's really overwhelming, but it's really nice to have homemade things. One thing I've noticed as I unpacked all of my Christmas stuff and put it out is that I have all the homemade things my mother made, all the homemade things people have given me over the years. A lot of my coworkers know I like homemade things, and so they've made me ornaments and things like that. And so I have a lot. My entire tree is almost all handmade ornaments. That's what I should do, is I should do a live and show you all of my handmade ornaments, because almost, I would say 99% of my ornaments are sentimentally handmade or given to me by someone special. So anyway, happy holiday prep, and let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see. I hope you saw last week's live, Heather, because I showed how to make that sploosh card for you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.